Hey everybody and welcome to the Lifeboat. This is the Night Yard with the Kind Convicts. I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and with me always my partner in crime, Russ. How you doing, my man?
What's up, buddy?
Good. Living the dream, man. And I do not mean
That's
that the
right.
way that people say it behind bars, right? I said that expression for probably a decade, and I was the biggest smartass. I was referring to the fact that, this was the dream when you were out there hustling and trying to make money that you weren't thinking about paying the fiddler and ending up in there or whatever. But I say it, and I say it with all sincerity, man. I'm living the dream. There's just so much cool stuff going on. There really is. And this is by your request, people. For whatever reason, and honestly, I guess it's because once again, as is always the case online, it's fascinating to get a glimpse into the world that we never get a chance to live in. Between the two of us, you've got guys that have done a grip of time and covering both state and federal facilities. So if you've got any questions about how people live on the inside of the United States of America, I know we got a lot of people from overseas who have written. All you got to do, if you want a question answered, is write the word question at the start of your question, right? Or something along those lines. I am lucky you are here, Tattoo Warrior. I am lucky all of you are here. Make no mistake. I am not losing sight of that. It is
Yep.
a beautiful thing that we've got people here. Sorry, I will get dehydrated and then we will be in bad shape. So here you go. This is a great question. And this is a question that I'll let both of us take a stab at. Here's my opinion on this. There are people who think it's a derogatory term against white folk. We've never taken it that way, right?
Nope.
Inside, it is the highest form of compliment that a white man can say to another white man. By the way, the black folks will call you Wood, right?
Yes, they will.
That is the way they will refer to you. Yo, what's up, Wood? And it is a term of respect. It is a term of endearment. It is done solely as a respect thing. When you get outside of prison and you start using the word Peckerwood, you will get a completely different reaction to it than you will get
Hmm.
inside. It's just like being on the outside. On the outside, calling someone a convict is never really said as a compliment, unless it's two fellas that have done some time together or whatever, have done some time. Most of the people who use that term use it as an insult. But inside, if a guy calls you a convict, it's the same thing as saying you're a stand-up cat. It really is. You agree, Russ?
Oh yeah,
You think I missed
definitely.
anything on that?
No, I mean that's if they don't know your name. If any other race doesn't know your name, that's what they'll call you, Wood or something like that. Being a porter, that's what they always used to yell. When I'm
Just
going
right through the
around
door. Yo,
sweeping.
Wood.
Yeah. Yep.
Yo,
That's
Wood.
what they call you.
And if you're a Native
And
American, they'd yell, Yo, Chief. And if you're a black dude, they'd be like, Yo, brother. That's just how it's. But inside it's Wood. All right, Dixie's got a question. My godfather was in prison for white collar crime, maybe fed in Oakdale,
uh,
Louisiana. That would be fed. Got in big trouble because my aunt visiting him was wearing a sleeveless shirt. Is that typical? Oh yeah. They typically they wouldn't let her in. Very often, what they do in the feds, they'll say, "I remember my girl showing up, and they said you could wear jeans, providing the jeans were not considered too tight." And they got there and they said, "Nope, you're not wearing those." And she was
hmm
very, very conservative. But that means no visit. No, it means you run to Walmart, and the Walmart right near any prison has got people in there buying shirts and everything else because they get turned away and you're not leaving. I mean that it takes you plan a trip. You get your guy ready. You do all of that. You're not leaving. You're going to Walmart. But yeah, they have dress codes. Sleeveless in the feds is usually a dead. You're not going in. They don't want anything to be. What they don't want is me looking at your girl while she's
right.
in there. That's really what they don't want. They don't want
Right.
me looking at your girl, or worse, God forbid, your kid. Right?
Yeah.
There have been
Uh-huh.
some real bad incidences that are famous from people that spent too much time staring at people's kids in a visiting room, and
Yeah.
bad things happen. People get
Some guys
very,
come back to the
very,
yard and get
yeah.
take care of things.
And
They
that is
get
a,
protected.
by the way, Oakdale is a federal Penitentiary. There is a federal penitentiary, Oakdale. So absolutely, that's where he'd be. Hello, Allie B from Tennessee. Hey, oh gosh, I know about the dress code. I volunteered at a max women's prison here in Nashville, 2.5 years, and you can't show any skin. No tight pants and this, and no this, no that. It's so hard to dress. Yeah, I believe that. I absolutely believe that. I know that in the feds, the ladies could not wear anything khaki, right? They can't wear anything that makes them look even remotely like they could be an inmate. The dress codes are vicious.
Yeah. A lot of guys used to do. It amazed me because they would. I mean, the Mexican guys were really dressed to the nines. They had their state shoes shine. They had their jeans,
creases,
pleated. Yeah, creases. It was weird how they could do that in there because we weren't allowed irons. So
right.
we weren't. You guys.
Yeah, people get real. There's a lot of ingenuity that goes on inside prisons.
Yeah,
man. I've seen a lot of MacGyver stuff. Is it difficult to stay sober in prison, or do most inmates prefer to stay off the grog and the drugs? Most inmates prefer to stay wasted. The vast majority of inmates are doing everything within their power to pretend for as many hours per day as they can that they are not in that prison. Drugs do a tremendous job for that. So, no, I would say that I had a very difficult time staying sober in federal prison. There was drugs everywhere, and people ready to go. So, and unlike the street, you don't, it's not one of those things where you say, well, I don't have any money. Well, they don't care if you have any money. Don't worry about that. They'll let you just start running up a debt. You got a credit card as soon as you walk in the door, man. They assume your credit's good. They assume your credit is just dandy until they start asking your people for it.
As soon as somebody had a conjugal visit, somebody of importance, or maybe somebody of non-importance, even better, that cops weren't even looking at. And, you come back from conjugal visit, you wander around, you look around the yard, and everybody's nodded off or knocked out at the card table. You know what's up.
Yeah, they're not stupid. You can always tell when dope hits because the day room looks like everybody in the room looks like they're about to fall asleep, and the cops are just walking around shaking their head like, "Oh God, here it is." There's going to be overdoses and all that. Kid Gulliver says, "I got a question. Are convicted animal abusers looked down on in prison?" You betcha. You betcha they are. At least where I have done time, that will get you really mistreated.
I know people that'll cut your head off over a cat.
They will cut your head. I'm dead serious. Here's a general rule of thumb. If you abuse something simply because you had the ability to abuse something, in other words, you're bigger and tougher than what you're abusing, no guy in prison digs that. Right? Nope. From anybody for anything. So that means that usually women, kids, animals, anything like that, that's just considered really bad form. And
anything that can't defend themselves.
Animals, elderly, children, Chili Man, sir, you nailed it. Yeah, all that's off limits, man. It's considered really, really bad form. And you're not going to make any friends in there.
No.
Yeah.
You will be paying somebody off.
This is funny. What is the process for becoming a shot caller? I assume there isn't an application. No, you're right. There is no application process.
Nope.
The way that this normally works is there's somebody that usually is referred to as a big homie. The big homie would be the highest ranking gang member with the closest proximity to that yard. In other words, you go out to Victorville, California, and the Victorville USP is right there. That means he's going to be the shot caller for every one of those little satellite prisons. Thank you, Allie. Ensign Allie B. You're looking good and green. So what happens is he's done enough time and he's hurt enough people and he's gone to the shoe without telling on people, and then the older cats start to die and the younger guys start to rise up. And what happens is by process of elimination, there's only so many big homies that are still left. And they try to get themselves shipped to a yard that where they're going to be have an opportunity to have a yard. Now, once the very big homie, who's usually on the street, there's a shot caller for that entire organization, and he's going to say, okay, so and so gets the call, and then that's how it's going to be. Someone's going to get the phone call, and I've been there for one of those celebrations where somebody found out they were getting the keys to the yard. And what it means is that they don't have to pay for drugs, they don't have to pay for alcohol, they don't have to pay for anything. All their friends are getting high for free. It's really kind of a bizarre process, but that's how that one goes down. Was it the similar thing in the States? Did I describe that pretty well?
Well, I don't
Almost looked like
know
I passed the cat off.
I know,
For a
right?
second.
I had to put mine on the chair. um, it's kind of like that in the state, but it's not really who's been there, but who gets the call. If
Yeah.
if like when my cellie got on the yard, it was already known who he was because he had that reputation. And if somebody comes in, and you're always going to have your jacket open to check to see what's going on, and they see what's going on with you. If you've got like this and this and this, and you're not putting yourself out there, and this dude will walk in your cell, and that'd be it. He'd walk out. Like, there's nothing else said. He's going to go in and take the keys from whoever he wants. And if that person gets there, whether they want them taken or not, it don't matter. He's got them.
Yeah.
So if there's a problem from there, you know what we have to do.
There's a lot of infighting people. You'd be really surprised. What a shot caller does, in answer to your question, is a shot caller makes the decisions on the yard for that car, which is very often a race of people, right? So they're going to be making the call for that entire race.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be a good one here. Here's a great question. If you're released, do you settle your debts if the people you owe are still going to be on the inside for a while after you're released? Oh, you better settle your debts.
Yeah. Yeah.
People start getting real dicey when you start getting within 2 or 3 months of the gate. Nobody's wanting to extend you a whole lot of credit. If you got any outstanding tabs, they're going to want those cleared out. People get real uncomfortable when you start trying to leave without paying them. It's a great way to stay in there a lot longer than you wanted to. Come on, squirrel. That cat wants to lay on the computer tonight.
I know. Mine does too.
She's not having it. There you go. That's a good kitty. Finally.
Rock Felicia, huh?
So, hey, I got a question. Do correction officers use the phrase "kick rocks Felicia" to inmates? My ex-husband is a CEO, was married for 10 years, wondering if it's said other than in Arizona. I have heard that expression in Arizona. I swear I have. But I've done time in Arizona, 2 prisons here. So, yeah, isn't that awful?
I wasn't in when, that whole Felicia thing came from Friday. I was, that wasn't being played when I was in. So we never heard Felicia, but kick rocks, hit the ramp,
beat it, beat feet.
Yeah, beat it. Yeah.
Beat feet was one we used to hear a lot. And it's not usually thrown out as a joke. Like if a dude says beat feet, you either need to get up and walk away or decide to fight him. It's usually not said as a very kind thing. It means I don't want you here. And people tend to get a little, this is such a good question. There you go. Does everyone know everyone else's release date? Only if you're stupid is the answer to that question. If you tell everybody when your release date is, you're not very bright. Usually you're homeboy, your 1 or 2 close friends know, and then people start, very low key, and then about a day or 2 ahead of time, he just starts giving away everything. But in the old days, and I've said this before, old timers used to check in, and it was not considered bad form for your last 2 weeks to go lay it down. They didn't call it checking in; they called it laying down. They'd say, I'm going to the hole for the last. I'm not going to get in a fight. I'm not going to get somebody to screw me out. I'm just going to the hole.
Yeah, the guys that have been in a long time, they'll get scared. Yeah, they'll do that.
Yeah. I know you guys are obviously not women. It was kind of you to notice. But surely you must know something. I have heard that women's prisons are less respect-driven and more violent. Is this true? From what I have heard, this is my opinion, Russ can give you his. From what I have heard, what really becomes an issue in keeping things safe in a women's prison is interpersonal relationships. The women are a lot more likely to be very open about the fact that they have relationships with each other. Doesn't mean that there's more relationships. It means that they're just not really trying to keep it on the down low. If it's happening in prison, guys are risking their lives, so they are really going to keep it on the down low. But in there, I guess relationships are what cause violence, and my understanding is it's very violent.
Yeah, I've seen
That was
some
my
girls that
understanding.
I've seen some go. Well, not seen it. Well, basically, I have seen them that were bigger than me, and I'm 6 foot 240. So, and they were pushing up 300-400 pounds. So on a bench. So I've heard of some pretty dangerous things that go on in women's prisons, but I've never seen it myself.
Well, and here's what happens is so people, a lot of these girls are gang members, right?
Hmm.
I don't know of any gangs that doesn't have a little sister kind of a program to it. And
Right.
it's amazing sometimes how violent these girls will get because they're trying to show the fellas that they're down for the
Hmm.
for the gang, and it's crazy. Yes, Jennifer Lemke says jealousy. Oh my God, they would get jealous and try to mess you up.
Oh
That's
yeah.
right. If
Oh
that's
yeah.
their girl or their guy, because some of them in there identify that way. If it's that their girl or guy, no, they'll kill you for that. And make
Yep.
no mistake, that's going on in guys' prisons too. If there's a dude
Yep.
in there that has the colloquial term is same term used for a female dog, right? And if a guy has one of those that he is claiming as his own, and then that's not happening with the white boys, I promise you. But there are other races that
No.
do allow that. It's considered not a big thing. In fact, there are races that it's still kind of considered almost tough guy to have a
Hmm.
few, girl air quotes. Yeah, not in the white boy race. That doesn't go over in the
Yeah.
white boy race at all.
There's no
Question:
no
This may
nice way to
take
say
two
it.
texts. What's that?
There's no nice way to say it.
Yeah, there's no nice way to say. This may take two texts, so bear with me. There'll be no bearing with you, Allie. There was a girl who was drunk and had an affair with a cop and lost his life. She is in prison for a long time. Very pretty and sheltered girl. How does she survive? Well, here's the deal. She can survive. I promise you she can. And there's a lot of different ways that they can. One of them for really pretty girls is they get a guard in there that will do anything for them. Does not take
Yep.
much for a girl to twist a guard around their finger if they're attractive. And that guard will make sure that if anything happens to her, if anybody looks crooked at her, then the weight of the prison will come down. There are definitely inmates that are protected by guards. I would imagine in women's prisons, that's got to take place a lot. The other thing is, I would, if it were me, I would do everything I could to not try to look really attractive. I would definitely maybe wear my hair in a bun. I probably would get some really baggy clothing, and I would do everything in my power to really keep my head down and stay away from any kind of a relationship.
Yeah, don't get it twisted though. Every one of us has wished that we'd been put on a women's prison yard for one day. Don't think,
Right?
I'm sure you thought about it too after about four
Oh yeah,
years.
it's a conversation that comes up all the time too, especially in the feds because you're always 150 yards from a woman's prison. They're always
Oh
just
yeah.
far enough away that guys would stand at the fence and go, "Oh man, that's a," and I'd be like, "Dude, all you can see is
Uh-huh.
green. You literally, there's no way you could tell that's a woman at this distance." But just
You
knowing
see
it's a
feet.
woman, the guys are out there going, "Oh wow, you see that?" I'm like, "No, is it? What is it? A tree? No, it's a girl walking. No, I don't
Right.
see any of that." Um, oh wow,
Yeah.
that's tough.
Did you see that? Yeah, I was just reading that.
Oh yes, I was married to a corrections officer. My husband wasn't allowed to work in women's prisons. He would cheat, and he did. The jerk. I left his backside, and I am glad that you did. Kick that fundament to the curb. This
Right.
happens, and now guys catch charges for it. No
Yes, they
joke.
do.
So when I was working in Unicor, they came up and they said to me, "There's a guy on your line." I was QA. I had to quality control all the shirts, blouses we called them, but
Right.
military blouses. And they said, "Listen, there's a guy on your line who used to be a corrections officer. You can have a problem with that." I'm like, look, dude, I don't give a crap what the dude's in here for. You know what I mean? Honestly, I don't care. I said, how did the corrections officer ended up in here? Well, they ended up with a relationship with a woman while they were at the women's prison. And he got caught a charge for it, which got him a 4-year sentence. But he freaked out and tried to hire somebody to kill the prosecutor. And he ended up turning what was a not even a full sexual encounter, but the same thing that old Billy Clinton was doing, right, with Monica Lewinsky, and ended up turning that into a 45-year prison sentence. So every day someone would say to him, I'll bet you that one was worth it. Lady J says, TVs and movies always say someone in prison is gay for the stay. Not true then? Oh, there are people. Go ahead, Russ.
Okay, there's a saying in state prison is it's not gay if you stop, 2 weeks before you get out. No, you're going to be gay. Period.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've always been of the firm belief. Yeah. I think that people don't go to prison and turn anything. I think if you have the propensity to enjoy that kind of relationship, then you're probably going to. If you're not a person that was ever inclined to try that kind of a relationship, then you're probably not going to. But the idea that you could turn your preferences on and off at the gate is always something that I found very unusual. Now, you know what, people? I don't judge a guy doing life for whatever he has to do to survive. I don't. I never have. I don't think it would be my route. But that's completely, but a guy that's in there for 3.5 years who's going buck wild and then going back to his wife, that dude probably was gay before he got there. I know that would be my guess.
Yep.
In a woman's prison, gay for the stay is definitely more of a thing because there's not such a stigma attached to it as there is in a guy's prison, right? You could probably go out and tell your guy and he isn't going to, want to kill you. He might go, really? Tell me about it. You know what I mean? It's like it's just a different scenario than it would be on the other shoe on the other foot. Decimal Chaos says, question: what was the first thing you did on your release, and what would you advise most folks to do once they get back into the community? Good questions. Do inmates newly released have to go to a halfway house? Russ, you want to start this one?
No, they don't. In the state, they don't have to go to a halfway house. If they've got a home to go to, if they're young or if their parents are still around and will take them back, that's definitely the route they'll go. But if you don't have any kind of support or any family or something like that, they'll give you the halfway house. They'll set you on that path and get you set up so you can do that. They kicked me out of California.
Right. So in the federal system, you don't have a choice. You're going to a halfway house. Everybody is going to a halfway house. It depends on how much halfway house you get is by case basis. Best possible case scenario, they give you a year of halfway house, of which you only have to do a little bit of time in the halfway house before you actually have to go home. Quiet girl. Shame
I saw that.
Right. What was the first thing I did when I got free? Here's what the first thing that you need to do. First thing you need to do is yell, I need help. Right? Because you ain't going to make it. Most people don't. Most people crash and burn. The first thing I did was I called the person that said to me, call this number as soon as you land, and a sober person will be ready to talk to you. I had a number ready for that, and I freaking called it. I got to the halfway house. I put 2 quarters in the phone. There was still had a pay phone, and I dialed it because I didn't have my cell phone until the following day. And I dialed that number and said, hey, man, I'm scared out of my mind. I need to talk to somebody. That's what you're supposed to do. Every other time, the first thing I did was I looked for something to eat. Right. And I looked for drugs. That's what I did. I looked for women and drugs.
See,
that's what I did.
It was tough because I couldn't get away from it because I had all my uncles that were doing it. So as soon as I went home, I had a home, my mom, everything. She took care of me and all that. And then I had BAM. I had
and what do the fellows say about? What do the fellows say about noon? About in the spoon by noon?
Yeah.
Right? At the gate at 8 and in the spoon by noon. That's what the fellows use. On the way out the door, they'd tell you, right? They'd say it on the way out the door. That's it. I'm gonna be in the
Back
spoon by
when-
noon. You know, they at least they're not BSing anybody. They're going to go back out. They're
Right.
going to do it again. Yeah, Quiet Girl, you did get the #1 comment of the night. You're still here. We didn't even delete it.
She should
Speaking
get
of
the trophy for
inappropriate,
that one.
I love you. She's great. But yeah, that one
Right.
was, yeah, it was a little naughty. Yeah, I'm not mad at you. I'm not, and oddly enough, I mean, if we're being honest, yeah. Any advice I would give to a guy, I would say this. Be honest with yourself and say, how did I get to prison? And if your answer is, my girlfriend called the cops on me, you're going back to prison, right? The answer is,
Right.
I was selling drugs. During the course of that, I did something to upset my girlfriend. She called the police, but it starts with, I was dealing drugs. And until you start leaning into the pitch and saying that the buck ends right here, you're just going to keep going back. That's it. That's my opinion. You got any advice for somebody about to enter society, Russ?
Well, I don't think I told you this before. The parole officer always gave us in the state. He always gave us the first drug test for free. So if you choose to be dirty, they almost open the door for us to go back to it. We'll give you the first drug test for free, but the second one will violate you. So, of course, I burned that bottle up. So
Yep.
I got that first one, but the second one, I just sent him a pair of sneakers and said, "Catch me." So, because I'm running,
Yep.
and that's what I did. Which is
Well,
sad.
I mean, I was an idiot every other time. I really was. But for me, the last one, I really was terrified. It was a very unusual situation for me because of my crimes. The feds, I mean, the judge literally said to me, I can't wait till the next time you're here. Because I'm
You gotta
sending
see
you
that
away for the
comment.
rest of, because you're going to die in prison. And that's not happening, right? So I was
Right.
terrified. Okay, this is a good
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
This is a good one because I'm getting a lot about this recently. Question: how does pen pal thing work? Do randos just write to you, or is there a list of people who are volunteering to communicate? It's a business. That's what it is. It's a business. There are websites like writeaninmate.com, friendsbehindbars.com, prison inmate penpals.com. All of these, and they promise the inmate get a picture of yourself. You write it down, and we'll send you. These girls send letters, and we match them up with you from all over the world. And guys, start lying. 2 seconds in, they're trying to work the girl for money on their books. Very rarely are there people who are just legitimately trying to find connection. Usually, those pen pal guys are dirtbags. If a guy's got a 3-year sentence on the way out the door, he'll sell that girl to the next guy with a story about how, man, the cartels want me dead. They're giving me a name change and a new register number and sending me to a new yard. Might be 6 months before I can write to you. And he
Right.
sells that. Yep.
hmm
It's pretty ugly and pretty disgusting. See a lot of that in the States too, Russ? A lot of guys working.
Oh yeah. I mean, but we didn't have, back when I was in, we didn't have computer access like you guys do in the feds or whatever they
Right.
do these days. But yeah, those that'd be nothing but somebody trying to get something from you, guaranteed.
Right. Well, I mean, the way we used to get them is they would do bulk mailers to every inmate in the unit from writeaninmate.com. And it sounds so fantastic. And of course, they show you a picture of 30 of the hottest girls you've ever seen in your life. Like every girl that ever wrote to this agency stepped off the cover of Victoria's Secret
Sports
to write
Illustrated,
poor Johnny in prison a letter. It's absolutely
Right.
stupid, but there is a lot of money in all of those little ancillary businesses that take advantage of inmates. There's a whole fortune that is spent in that, like the Christmas gift list for your kids and all of these different things that are just intelligent people looking at the prison system saying, how can I make a buck on it?
Yep.
Most often inmates who
guys-
are leaving who do it.
Yeah. You
Like
guys in
yard
there
photos.
ducats. Carrying around ducats.
Yep. So they sell pictures of girls that are just looks like your girlfriend would mail you a picture, except they're super high glossy, but they're that size, like the old photo size. And it's pictures of girls who have clothing on. They have so little clothing on that it is absolutely remarkable. I mean, truthfully, how they're able to cover themselves with 2 postage stamps and a little bit of string. But as naked as you can be and still get by the law is the goal. And guys buy these stacks of pictures and use them like trading cards. And they're everywhere throughout the entire system.
Yeah.
The first thing I couldn't wait to buy, I can answer this very easily, and then Russ, I want to hear yours. For me, because of when I was down, I wanted something that I could wear in my ears that didn't have damn cords and cables attached to them. In 13 years, do you know how many pair of headphones I went through? And I'm talking about getting them repaired 35 times before you threw them out. How many pair of headphones I went through in 13 years? Packs of batteries. I just wanted technology. I wanted the ability to have one of these in my hand more than anything, right? No more debates. People, you take for granted the fact that there's no debates in the real world anymore, right? Who did that? I don't know. No. We'll just ask. The debate's over in 2 seconds. In prison, you can't Google anything. Guys are still arguing about the name of the actress from such and such a film because there's no way to, unless you got a cop. If you really got a cop, when you go up and be like, hey, Google who pitched for so-and-so in the 76 World Series because we're arguing about it, right? But keep in mind, we can't do any of those things. There's no internet. There's no ability to get information other than like it did when you were in high school, right? We had a library. That's all we got. And we get into it. That library is important as hell. We have computers, but all we can do is send an email. The computer will do nothing but send an email. Literally, nothing else.
Wow. I mean, we didn't have that. I mean, I can't really think. I've been sitting here trying to think of something that I wanted to buy that wasn't food. I mean,
well, that usually is all the big ones on your list: or food or drugs.
Yeah. I mean, they give you the bus ticket, or even I had a train ticket for when I got out, and getting on the train was almost like going to the moon to me. I'd never been on a train before. As soon as I got off the train, there was my homeboy there with my uncle with a full syringe in a bag. What am I going to do?
Yep. Right,
so
back restart.
I didn't have to buy anything. So I bought a Big Mac the first thing I got out. But anything other than that, it was drugs.
Yeah.
But I didn't even have to buy that.
Yeah. Truthfully, the first thing I bought, and it was so stupid, but the first thing that I bought was a pack of Marlboro Reds.
Really? I had Lemax.
I smoked one of them, and then I gave away the remainder of them. So it was like I was so excited to get it, and I got it, and I dragged it in, and I went, "Oh God, I don't like this. This is disgusting. What the hell am I doing?" It was. It
you want some bugler or some top?
Right, exactly. I need to roll something out of an ashtray so that it tastes right. Tampa B Man says, I've only sent a handful of emails in my life. One was to, I feel honored. One was to me. Thank you. I am honored. Allie B is saying hello to the Waking Through the Looking Glass and all the other ladies. I love this. This conversation is wide open. I'm glad that you like it, Steve. It is, I know this is an interesting subject matter for a lot of people, right? Valerie, it is almost exactly the same. I've done both. It is almost exactly the same. Believe it or not. It really is. I mean, loss of freedom is loss of freedom, right? It's worse if someone's beating you up. It's worse if it's scary. But the punishment is the loss of freedom.
It is.
For real. I'd rather have my ass kicked and be free, right?
And then you deal with everything that comes with loss of freedom. So it's being told you can't leave that really pissed me off the most.
Yeah.
I can deal with all the dudes. That never bothered me because I knew where I stood. It was just being told I couldn't leave.
No, that's really the thing. You were thinking about drum. Drum is much nicer. That's actually not so bad. What was the worst meal I ever had in prison? That's easy. The worst meal I ever had in prison was so bad that we revolted and they finally took it off the menu. And that was every other Sunday in federal prison, you got liver.
Liver.
And I'll make you a promise, you are not getting that down. When we would go in to get it, right? It said on the box, I'm not lying, people. I'm not lying. It said, not meant for human consumption, grade D liver parts.
Yeah.
Grade D liver parts? The hell does that even mean? Right? Well,
Yeah.
apparently, grade D means this is no shit, right? I'm sorry, pardon me, but grade A would mean you can sell it to for human consumption. You know what B means? It means squirrel nut zippers getting it, right? The next rung down is going to be the stuff that they were buying at the prison. You got to know this, right? It's dog meat. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
less money that these guys can spend on food on us, the more they can steal. And I'm telling you the truth. I watched how it's done. And how it's done
Yep.
is at the end of the budget, right? They sell off all the equipment in there to a cousin of theirs, right? For real. They sell off all the equipment and buy brand new stuff. And it's just everything is a hustle. It's such a
Oh
disgusting
yeah.
hustle. I could do a show on it. It would take me about 5 hours, but I could do a show telling you every single way that just the kitchen is ripping off the taxpayer of the United States of America.
Oh yeah.
Like I was sitting there filling stuff out and I said to my boss, I said, hey, we got screwed out of like 30 cases of beef patties. No big
Yeah.
deal, right? It's a hamburger patty. And he goes, we could serve chicken on that day, right? No one's going to complain. You know the difference? The difference is 28 cents a patty or 7 cents a patty. And I said to him, I just looked at my boss. I said, hey, I ain't trying to be a dick, but how's he kicking the money back to you? Like you ain't stupid, right? Like this is coming
Right.
in a bag, right? You're getting cash. This dude's not buying you cars or doing something stupid. And he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I go, bro, I ain't the FBI, man. You need to worry about
Right.
your friends. I'm wearing khaki. But I'm
Right.
telling you right now, dude, I said, this is real easy to look at this book and tell you what's going on. You know,
Right.
you ain't got to be a genius. You're serving chicken 5 times more a week than you're supposed to. I mean, a month.
Right.
That's yeah. You do the math. I started playing with a calculator. I mean, those guys are all grifting unbelievable amounts of money.
I think
Decimals
we were.
asks. Go ahead.
I think we were at one point. I found out we were being per inmate. We were $1.22 a meal. That's their
Sounds
limit
about
on
right.
what they could. Yeah, what they could spend on feeding us if you
Yeah,
put it
we
into
were
a
we were
hole.
270. We were 278, but this was a lot of years later. So that's probably
Yeah.
just inflation. But
Right.
yeah, I remember being in the state joint and same thing. I was doing the same kind of a job, and they were spending more money to feed the horses on the farm, the alfalfa, than they were to per day than they were feeding us, which was kind of cold hearted, if you ask me.
Yep.
Is it dangerous to write to prisoners? Not sure if you covered it, but I'm curious. As one of my former friends is incarcerated, but I'm scared to write. No, there's nothing dangerous about writing to inmates. I would recommend women not write to inmates they don't know, right? Those. Let me explain something to people real quick here. I think this is really important because you hear things like, how could a woman be stupid enough to fall in love with a convict, right? Or a guy who's on death row or a person who's behind bars. Let me explain something to you people, okay? We don't fall in love the way we used to, right? We fall in love in super high speed. We do it online and there's all these different things. What if the only way you can communicate with the person that you loved was with by letter, and they hand wrote you a letter every single day for 6
Right.
years? I promise you, you will have exchanged every piece of information you possibly could have with another human being. And you treasure every word, and you treasure the phone call they can make twice a week. And the love that will develop will become different than anything you felt on the street. The lack of intimacy, physical touch, will make you believe you are more in love with this person and this is more real and more solid than anything you've ever felt. And there are
Yep.
people right now going, holy crap, I promise this is happening to women every day. They're not stupid. But if they felt like there was a dad at home that was very often these, and I'm not just, these are cliches, but they're true. Very often, these are women who had a father in the home that was very absent or not involved. And a lot of the times these women end up, the guys joke. They say, just give me a girl with daddy issues and a checkbook. That is a very common, it's a disgusting thing, but it is real. And I'm telling you. So I always
is.
say to women when they say, would you write to an inmate? Yeah, if I had a penis. I don't think I would
Yeah,
write
it-
to a guy if I was a woman. Go ahead.
I would only write home once a month to my mom, and I'd call her once a month. But if somebody were to write me. You hit the nail on the head with that, because if you had to pick up a phone and call them every so often, when you hear their voice, everything just gets, taken away. Or you get that letter that smells like perfume, and it
Oh
just
yeah.
takes everything away. You know,
Yep.
it
Absolutely.
sucks. I mean, you could find a woman in prison. I can't find one out here.
Right?
Where
Oh,
I
it's way
mean,
easier to find one
wait,
inside. It's way
yeah,
easier to find one inside.
yeah,
Do you know why? Because you're not threatening. Right? When you're
right,
an inmate that's inside, you send the letter home and what you got a six pack, you're yoked out to here, right? All you've had to
right,
do for the last 6 years is pump iron, right? You
right.
look like no guy your age, right? No 50-year-old guy has got a six pack, right? And you're just chiseled and out there, and it's really, really easy for those
Right.
relationships to build. But I've done it. And when you get out, there's a reality roundup where all of a sudden it's like, holy hell, she's here. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I got to do this all the time now. This is a good one. Russ, tell me what you think. He says, do you realize it comes down to who has the keys? As you explained, the hustle, doc, food, billing. It's sick how the grift works.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll tell you what,
it is.
there's just a lot of truth to
There,
that.
yeah. There's never a time that you know that thinking from a prisoner's point of view, who had the keys. There wasn't. I don't think any time in my memory that I thought that we didn't have anything that we didn't want. It was given to us
Right.
because of my cellie, you know, because of what he's owed. Um,
Yeah.
Man, there's just a lot. I went through my time was okay when I got into a cell with him. I didn't have to worry
Oh,
about
yeah.
that. But man, just looking around, crazy how it goes because these guards would. I mean, there used to be freemen. You ever hear of those?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the freemen, the guys that come in and work with prisoners that are from the streets that aren't
Yep.
COs. They're trades master, I would say, or journeyman or whatever, and they would go home with you know toolboxes and tools, and the state would provide them all the time.
Yep.
What are they going to say?
Absolutely. Well, look, while I was in prison, the guy that ran the food and beverage for the one in Kansas, Leavenworth, the guy that ran the food and beverage for Leavenworth got hauled off, right, for
Wow.
stealing money from the. It happens every year. They catch at least one or two guys every single year for the grift, but everybody else is falling through the cracks. I'll do a show on
Right.
this. I promise I'll do
Yeah.
a show on this. Hey, you know what? Inappropriate heifer? You are not, there's nothing wrong with anybody who, if you got robbed by a guy inside, don't make an excuse about that, right? You're the victim. He's a
Move.
scumbag. It's no
Yeah.
different than if he ran up and went, give me that money. Okay, he's got a better con than that. But there's no
Yeah.
difference. Make no mistake. It's this one right here. You think it was different, but it was this. And I knew guys, this is no joke, right? I knew guys that would say, I'm writing 4 women and 6 guys. Because they would get on gay dating websites because according to the fellas, you make way more money writing to gay men than you do to women. Way more. And I knew guys in there that, I mean, literally were making more money inside from working guys and gals from these pen pal sites than they were making when they were on the street. But there is a case now. There in the federal system, there was a guy that they documented that he had gotten $160,000 sent to his books. And it was like,
Damn.
I don't remember, 7 or 8 different women and a couple of guys. And they brought a case against them. And it was the first time that's ever happened. But they are
They should.
starting to prosecute this for fraud, right?
Yeah. They should.
You know, it's technically, I don't think it's bad form. I mean, it's illegal, rather. It's just really bad form. But when you begin to lie to them and you start telling one person that you're getting out at this time and one person that you're not, it's a lonely heart scam. That's right, Lady J.
Hmm.
And let me tell you something. Don't take this. I mean, I didn't set out to ever do this to any woman, but I did it to a bunch of them. And I swear to God, I mean, I never set out to do it to any woman. I mean that. But I did it to a bunch of them because you get out with the best of intentions and then you start to to mess up. And then the next thing you know, you're getting high. And when I get high, all bets are off. I'm robbing everybody. You know what I mean? Like, not intentionally, but I'm going to run out of money if the stuff's on the table and taking it. And if it's not, I'm going to look to see where you might have put it on the table, right? I mean, it's.
I was going to ask you something.
Sure.
What's the most amount of money you've ever held?
I had over $1 million but it was for a infomercial we were filming. We had a wheelbarrow with $1 million.
No,
$100 bills.
I meant during your criminal days.
During my crime, 600 grand.
Was it? I've only seen about 100.
600.
I've had 130 pass through my hands. You know,
it's a pile of money.
It is.
People don't get an appreciation, especially if it's drug money, because you got 20s and you got bricks, right? You got about 5 bricks about this big. I can tell you that a kilo of that $1 million in $100 bills weighs 22 pounds. I can tell you that. But
I know I've been around.
The most I ever had any possession of was 650, and it was and I had to send it Western Union. This was the good old days. We Western Unioned all of that in 3 days, running from Western Union to Western Union throughout Houston, Texas. Question. Watched my mother-in-law make a real difference in the prison system. Always wanted to be a woman's CO, but leery. I've heard that most are crooked, and I could not do that, like, ever. You know what? If it depends on what kind of help you're trying to do. There is a doctor. And on the outside chance that she sees this, there is a doctor that worked in the federal system in Terre Haute, Indiana, and she kept me alive. Like when all of that suicide stuff was on, and I was being put on watch during that story I told you about the other day. That doctor came every single day, right? And she would come for about an hour a day and talk to me. And I was probably 20 days into it. I'm not even exaggerating. Until one of those inmates that sat across from me was finally inappropriate. And he was like, "Hey, what's going on with you and the doc?" I'm wearing a suicide smock, and I got a beard down to here. I haven't showered in 3 weeks. I'm like, "We're going out tonight." I thought we'd hit it. I'm like, "What the hell do you mean? What's going on with me and the doc?" I said, "She comes up here and talks to me." He goes, "I know, every day." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Doctors have to show up every day, bro. That's how this works." He goes, "Yeah, but there's 7 of them." He's like, "They do a rotation." He's like, "You normally don't get the same doctor 2 days in a row." But she just really took an interest in my case and thought I was kind of getting screwed over for asking to try to get me to sign off on this. So, there are people out there that work in the federal system who really help, right? Who really help.
In the state system, I mean, a woman CO is very well protected. Don't get me wrong. If you treat the inmates with respect, they will not let anything happen to you. But if you start playing the hard ass and doing this and doing that, something can happen. So there are women that make a difference. Definitely.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Allie. It really is. Because it takes people like this. It really does. Let me explain something to you. The first time an inmate sits across, and go ahead and send me all kinds of freaking hate mail. I don't care. But the first time an inmate sits across from an attractive woman, right? That hasn't happened to a guy in a really long time, right? And they're the first thing the guy thinks is, "Damn, that girl's attractive," right? But you don't want to, because you're always seeing fear in the eyes of everybody you see. And I remember looking at this doctor, same one, beautiful blonde woman, and there wasn't a stitch of it. This woman looked me in the eyes, and there was nothing in that woman's eyes that said, "I'm afraid of you." There were periods in the time that I worked with her where I saw genuine compassion, where you could see that she felt bad for me, but never pitying or condescending or any. And it only takes one of those people to change your life. It really does. Because you start going, "You know what? That's how I want people to look at me. I swear to God, that's how I want everybody to look at me. I'm tired of people looking at me like they're freaked out or they're scared of me. I want everybody to look at me like I'm that helpful dude that just showed up to fix the day." Right? Mm-hmm. And you'll start living differently. People like you can make a difference, Allie B. I mean that. It takes people like you. Seventh Son says, "Which tea is hard to swallow?" Oh boy, did he nail that one. Right? Reality.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. What do you think? Russ?
Oh, I
Is
love
it
that movie.
inappropriate?
No,
Is it
I love it.
inappropriate for her to love Shawshank Redemption? Hell no. That's a great
No,
movie.
yep, he's braver than I am.
Oh,
I
here's
couldn't
an
crawl through
interesting
it.
one. Nat B says, P.S. Tommy, just wanted to say I rewatched the Drew Peterson case. Can't wait till you do that stream. I'll tell you what, people. I'm going to tell you what he did to his wife. I am. I'm doing it on the Esoteric Atlantic. He told me. I'm telling you, he's doing life. I got no issues. It's not like he's going to do any more time in there, but his kid deserves better, and we're going to do what we can do. Question: what happens to your home and possessions when you're immediately taken from the court to the prison? What if you have pets or children or both? Guess what? You're
Come
not
on,
going to have
Grandpa.
pets any longer.
No, Family
Your
members have to
pets.
come in.
Yeah, and if you don't have family members, adios. You ever watch Storage Wars? Where do you think a lot of those storage facilities come from? Right?
Yep.
Those are guys that had a storage facility and they got a bunch of stuff in it, and they get sent to prison. They got nobody to go get their stuff. Hey Russ, how many times you heard a dude tell a story about a storage lot he had with 2 Harley Davidsons in it or 3
Oh
Harley
yeah,
Davidsons in it?
yep.
That's a
Filled with
4-time-a-day
snap-on
story.
tools. Yep.
Yep.
Full of
4
snap-on
rollers of
tools.
snap-on tools. I had
A
a
half
Porsche
ounce
in
in the
there.
toolbox. Yeah, I had a half ounce in the toolbox. No, I
Yeah.
was just waiting for him.
Shot already waiting to go.
Yep.
I come bearing gifts. Happy holidays. Thank you, Diana. I appreciate you. I really do. Oh, here we go. This one might have a little meat on the bone. Tommy, is your attitude towards women working there the exception or the norm? I've always thought they'd get heckled. Maybe a terrible assumption. I'll tell you what. You're not seeing a whole lot of heckling in a prison. Certainly not by the white boys. Right?
No.
White guys don't heckle women inside. That's considered gunning. That's considered bad form. You're
Disrespect.
considered a freak. Right?
Disrespectful.
So it's you are expected to treat women with respect in prison. Show somebody that you're not that guy, they're going to snap on you instantly. They're going to assume you're probably a freak.
Yeah, that's somebody's mother, sister, daughter. We don't tolerate that.
That's right. At all. It's never tolerated. Lady J, you've been following the Drew Peterson case. Drew and I worked together for, I'm not joking, thousands of hours. He was assigned to a federal prison and he was my co-worker. He and I sat in a office smaller than this one, 40 hours a week for a year and a half. I know everything. I'm going to be telling the story on Esoteric Atlanta with Bryce. See, I love this. Look at this. This makes you special. I'm not afraid of the convicts. I'm leery of the crooked COs. First time I saw misconduct, it weighed on me. I'd reported it. Always the underdog. Cuss, I'm one. You know what? I'll tell you something else. The guys you'd have to worry about putting hands on you, right? And being those pervs too would also be the COs. I'm just telling you the truth. The odds of an inmate trying to put hands on you are real damn slim. The odds of one of your coworkers doing it, those guys are notorious. I'm just saying. You would hear women guards complain about it. I'm not working with that dude because he's all over me every time I work with him. And as inmates, you'd hear it all the time. They complain about it.
I don't know if you ever heard of the Corcoran thing where the COs would put people out in the hole just to see them fight.
Oh yeah, make bets on them, set up the fights.
Yeah, and then they'd shoot them. I was in there when they were doing that. Yeah.
Yep. But very famous. Very famous.
Yeah.
A bunch of people got in trouble.
Yes, they did. And it was pretty wicked. A lot of guards got in trouble for that.
I recommend, this is a good question. Do you recommend volunteering for reentry programs like Inside Influence? I do. And I recommend that anybody that, whether you're on either side of that fence, if you can volunteer to help inmates get back into society, do it. It will make your life better. If you're on the inside and you have an opportunity to take any reentry program and you don't, you're a fool. Take everything that you possibly can, make it happen. If, by the way, see this? Drop a link. If you have a channel, please, all of the normal ones I've been asking you put up, can my mods put up links to Need a Meeting and to Miss Dragon as well? Want to start helping all of the all of the new channels, we're all pulling the same direction, right? There's
Yep.
can't have enough of this. You hear me?
Nope.
Can't have enough of this. I'm never not gonna support anybody as long as I think with that they're we're all on the same page, we're all doing the same thing. As long as we're not infighting, and as long as there's you're not judging people on your channels, man, I'll push anybody that's doing this. I promise you I will, man. It's never gonna hurt the boat. Because the boat is trying to get more of this. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a crap whether I get it or somebody else gets it, as long as they all get to the party, right?
Right.
That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do. This is the holiday season, people. Let's double down, huh? Let's double down.
You get one?
I may have. Hold on one second. Yeah, here we go. I just talked to a kid from my volunteer juvenile system days, and he is doing well, not getting in trouble and taking care of his moms. They needed Christmas stuff, and a husband dropped it off. I love them. How cool is that? Seriously, You know what? People, you want to get high? That's how you get high. You think I'm playing with you? Go do it. Go do it. Get a cocktail of brain chemicals that are coming in because you're doing something for somebody else. Man, you'll get addicted to that crap quick. I
will.
Promise you.
Yep.
Yeah. Lady J, I will make sure that you are aware of when I do the Peterson thing. I promise you. I'll be announcing it here. Brace will be announcing it there. We're going to be filming this week. So I'd be shocked if it's not up this week or beginning of next week. Brace is... she's excellent. She works really, really quickly. And the reason that it isn't already up is my fault because of everything that went on with Aaron and everything else. And I've tried to do everything I can to do a little less of that than everyone else is doing. I want it to die down, at least here on the boat, people. I really do. Here's one. Anik says, how can you be supportive of someone on the inside through the holidays without positioning yourself to be conned? No pun intended. What do you think, Russ?
I think just being supportive, not opening yourself up to any kind of I don't know, fraudulent things that they start saying. If something gets repeated too much, it just doesn't sound right. It's too genuine. Kind of step away, and take this second look.
You know what I tell people all the time too? I tell people all the time this. $20, right? $20 will buy you a hell of a lot of Christmas and it won't buy you any drugs. 20 papers ain't getting you high, right? The smallest increment of dope you're going to get high on in prison is a 50 paper, and even that ain't really getting your attention, right? I had to do about 600 papers to feel it. So, I mean, if you said to somebody, I'd like to help you out at Christmas, I'd like to be able to get you some coffee, a little bit of hygiene, I'm sending you $20, they're not going to get out of control. You're not really helping them and enabling them, and that's enough money to give a inmate a Christmas. Am I wrong?
That's true.
It's the last money in your books.
What was the soup? What did the soup cost when you were in?
25 cents when I left. I think they were going to 30.
It was 17 when I was in. So 14 or 17.
$20 buys a lot of soup.
It does.
$20 buy a lot of ramen, a lot of zuzus and wham whams. You'd be a good.
Yeah.
I don't know Prison Mission. I'm not familiar with that program. Anybody that works with inmates, kids, and families, forget it, right? The holistic approach. When an inmate gives a crap about his family on the streets, he's a great inmate. He ain't fighting because he doesn't want to lose his visits, right? He's not selling or doing drugs because he'll drop hot. He doesn't want to lose his business or disappoint his kids. When you separate an inmate from his family and he doesn't have to worry about visiting him, he doesn't have to worry about fist fights, he doesn't have to worry about shooting dope, he doesn't have to worry about getting tattoos, what are you going to do to me? And that becomes the attitude. You already did it to me, right? Mm-hmm. You took my family. Screw you. Take the rest of it. I don't care, right? That's when you start swinging at cops.
Yep.
For real.
When you have nothing to lose.
V. McWilliams, I'm going to get something like that put together. I think that's a beautiful idea. There are some people who've got some family in there. We can get some registered numbers. Yeah, I think I could get something like that put together so that we could get some Christmas for some people. I love that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Toys for Tots does things inside, Todd. They do. There are some really great programs that do things to provide Christmas for kids whose dads are in prisons. There are some
Yeah,
really good programs
there
that are
are.
set up. A lot of beautiful things that they're doing. But you know what? I struggle to believe that any of the people putting that together are any smarter than anybody on the lifeboat. So you get a brainstorm of how we can make Christmas better for the parents of a kid who's incarcerated or something. You let us know. That's a great idea.
You
Oh
usually
my
have to go through your
Lord,
counselor.
Russ, have fun. Ever had the police do something to discourage your criminal activity? He had cops torture him. Well, that
Yep.
might do it.
I've had them. I've had 4 warrants once when I was a juvenile. 4 warrants, outstanding warrants, and I knew I had them. When that
Right?
cop asked me my name, and I told him I didn't lie to him, and he thought he had a prize. So he pulled out his billy club when they used to carry him, and I mean, broke my leg, did everything to me.
Just
So
beat you like a
yeah,
pinata.
yeah, there were like 4 or 5 of them, if I remember right. But yeah, that I got tore up. They'll discourage your criminal activity. So, but they don't do
Um,
anything nice about it.
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll be honest. I had a probation officer that bent over backwards trying to help me.
Now
I really
that's
did.
different.
I had one probation officer that really wanted to see me succeed, and I let him down. But
No, the one out
but
here
I
was
have a
good.
feeling that when I left this time that they bragged to him because he was pretty fond of me. And when I finally got it right, I actually walked out of that courthouse a free man. Right? I'm sure that message got to my old probation officer.
Oh yeah.
If you're in the Marines and you screw up, you can end up in the feds, right? If you get thrown in the brig is the federal system. We used to do time with you guys.
Hmm.
Soldiers ended up at Leavenworth, right? It happens all the time. I love adopting a family at Christmas. It's a beautiful idea. I love adopting a family at Christmas in silence. It's a beautiful thing. You see somebody that's hurt and you know that they are, you know what? Buy them some groceries. For
Yep.
real. And then put it on their doorstep, knock and leave. You don't have
Right.
to be there for it, right? Give it to them and steal that feeling of them feeling like, we're going to turn down charity. We're not taking this,
Hmm.
any of that stuff. Get it there, do the old, disappear. I
Yeah.
promise you, you'll feel
Hmm.
just as good. It isn't about somebody looking at you, right, with that look in their eye like, aren't you a good dude? That isn't what it is. It's you looking in the mirror at yourself going, you're a good dude.
Hmm.
You're not a dirtbag. You're not a convict.
Oh,
You're not a
good.
scumbag. You're a good person. You're actually trying to help people. I promise you it'll change your life. I think Russ and I are here for our health, right? It's making
Yeah,
us better people.
it is. We're
It's just
doing
a
a
fact.
food drive right now for a church at my work. So we're trying
I
to
love
gather
it.
as much food as possible. We're trying to get a record. So we keep, filling these boxes of donations and then taking them back to the shop. So hopefully we'll get a few truckloads.
Uh, Danny, why would you not see it happening? Got no reason not to, Danny. Tell you what, send me a email. So I tell everybody else, I am more than happy to allow people to get into the guest speaker program. We are going to do this because it is how we are going to inspire people to start other channels and to tell their stories. Because you know what? The more people that are telling their stories, the more people are going to realize that addicts, right? People who are working through mental health, they're just like everybody else. They're all just trying to live
Hmm.
their best lives and move forward. And you know what? We're done allowing people to badmouth either. So, Danny, right? Tell me what you want to talk about. Send me the email. That's how we do this. People, I just did. I mean, this was almost a damn job today. I think I might have pulled 8 hours of video time, right? I have been live today. Russ, I am going to go eat one of those things and fall asleep and not even dream. I love you, my brother. Thank you
Oh,
for
see you,
helping me.
Don.
Yeah,
Thank
people,
you.
we will be back for more Night Yard. I promise you, I really enjoy doing this, and I know that you people do too. I am Captain Tommy with my man Russ. Thank you, Russ. Always appreciated.
Love
And
you.
this is a cat in a basket. All right, people, don't tell me in the comment section. Really? I love you. But do you think I'm doing this one? Tell you what, right? Send me an email. Tell me what you want to talk about, right? All of it. Send me an email. Say, I'm one of your people. Here's what I think the subject could be. We're going to get this put together. I promise you. You can make it happen, Danny. Anybody can make this happen. It's not during the normal fives. This is what we're going to do. Because I like the idea, damn it. Alrighty, people. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 5. Thank you, Russ. You the man. God bless
See ya.
everybody. See ya.